Hey guys, what's up? This is Scott with KC Blade Drip. How you doing today? Well, it could be day, could be night, could be afternoon. That's all, well, we're here and that's what matters. Hitting play, choosing to watch another video. It could be your first, could be your last, hopefully not. Home of 150% guarantee for you guys that love stats. Because 100% of the time I'm over 50% right. And every knife has a story. Kind of keeping with a common theme as of recently. This is a SOG, as you can see in the title. I know the last little review / show and tell was the SOG Pillar. I enjoyed doing that so much that I had to go out to Amazon and have them send me this bad boy. This bad boy right here of lusciousness. Look at this big son of a bitch. That's right. Studies and Observations Group, the Seal XR. This is CPM S35VN. This is one big heavy duty knife, guys. So I ordered this and received it today. Got sidetracked a little bit, a couple of 2, 3, whatever times. Hopefully we can get through it this time on a good show and tell review. Tell you what I like about it. And do what we do best, guys. Gosh, I love knives. Sitting there looking, playing, touching, holding. You know, it's what we do, guys. Follow me on KC Blade Drip if you're on Instagram. We'll keep that short and sweet. If you are, that's nice. If you aren't, then you're in the place to be anyways, because this is YouTube, where we bring everything to words and video, and we do it. So, let's go ahead. Let's get into the knife here. I'm going to make sure and bring out some of the positive things. There's a few other reviews out there. Some of them I don't quite understand or get, but I'll go over some different points of the knife that I've seen. Again, I just received it today and opened it, so this is more of a first impression than any type of a review. Just giving you what I think of the knife itself. I've really started to kind of fall for SOGs. I think that they're, for the most part, what I've had, well-built knives that are made for work and for different various tasks. This particular knife, at first, what I'd like to do is just measure it, weigh it, so we kind of know what we're dealing with looking at here. I think they say the blade is like 3.9 inches or something, but I like to get a measurement myself. So I've got a well, if we look at that, I'd say it's about 3.5 inches. Cutting area, I don't see anything near 4, but you see what it is, guys. The handle itself, you see what it is, 5, little over 5, with an overall length, 9. Okay, so it's a big knife. Definitely a big knife. Let's go ahead and weigh it here and see what it weighs. All right, zero out. 8.2. That's heavy. I mean, it could be heavier, obviously, but that's a pretty big, chunk of metal in your pocket. So, as far as the action here, this is going to be the XR lock. It's kind of what they've come out with as far as SOG on the actions with their knives. The locking action is going to be the XR lock. So it's right here. It's a flipper for opening. Okay, so we've got the flipper action there, nice and smooth, no hang up. And then to release, we basically just pull back the area right here So as you can see at the top, in this little area right here, I love using this. This is where we have that lock into place. You have a nice sturdy, look at the hardware in there. And when you pull it back, it drops that down. Now, with the locking mechanism, not only do you have a flipper, but you can also pull back and you can just swing it. You know, does it remind you of anything? Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Benchmade with that axis lock. Just a different name. So, I mean, that's cool. I will say this knife is, it's meant to be wearing gloves. It really is. You know, you notice when we're looking at this together for the first time, we've got a lot of aggressive jimping on here. This hole that's in the blade, that's not really for flicking. I mean, the detent on this is pretty stiff right here. So I haven't had any luck trying to flip it. You can use your thumb to push it out like that. And then, of course, the flipper, which has, you know, by the way, a lot of aggressive jimping across the top. Aesthetically, jimping all the way around the spine and the back of the scales here. We do even have jimping that runs all along the undercarry or the underside of the fingers slots here. So, I mean, it is filled with jimping. But like I said, now this particular knife, this is I'm not going to use it would be great, and it is meant for tactical situations. It's made for battle. It's made for being out in the wilderness. It's for missions, for camping, a duty knife, whether maybe you're a police officer or you're, you know, in the military and you're stationed overseas or whatever. This is meant to be carried and used in those situations. And a lot of times, like when I was in the service, I wore gloves, and when I was on duty in the field, and so if I was pulling a knife like this out, now I didn't have this particular knife, but if I pulled a knife out, I would have gloves on. So a lot of this jimping along the top of the spine here in the undercarry. Now when I lock in, okay, with my bare hand, just like this, I have no issues, none. I can feel the jimping in my hand. And yes, it's got traction. Is it sharp and biting me? No, it is not. I could cut and use this with no problem. Now, I'm not going to be holding this thing in my bare hand for 30 minutes. I wouldn't foresee that happening. So grabbing this, even with bare hands, it's fine. You know, some other people may say, hey, oh gosh, why is there so much jimping? Why is, you know, I'm going to tell you why. One, when you have gloves on, you grab this in your hand, you're secured, you're locked in. The texturing along the handle on both sides, look at that texturing. And then this with this aggressive jimping all the way around, you're locked into this when you put your hand on it. The jimping on the top is pretty aggressive. Again, it doesn't hurt my finger, but it's aggressive. You can feel that. It gives you great traction. You will not slip and slide on this. Slide, slide, slippity slide. That won't be happening. Push cuts. You can get real detailed use with the tip if you need to. Okay, so this is going to give you control of your blade. Beautiful blade profile. It's a clip point. Nice and thick stock on this. It's got like a black Cerakote on it. of S35 VN steel, which I did already mention. But I love this style. Very, very usable. It has so many functions that you could use this for. Purposes, actually. You've got your USA made, and then your little branding over here. Your studies and observation group, which is SOG, the Seal XR. So yeah, that's, I mean, pretty much the blade itself. The jimping, again, not a problem. It has a purpose. Keeping your hand on the knife. If you're wearing a glove and you're on a mission or you're in the field, this is what this is for. Field of combat, guys. Which a duty knife. Basically being on duty. It's got a purpose, though. I love the jimping. And it's, again, it does not hurt my hand. You've got scales that go all the way through. Now the handles are not a G10. This is some type of an ejection mold like plastic. Okay, I think it might even be, well, it's some type of a plastic material. It's not G10. But if we look inside the handle, you should be able to see here the scales. So they have like a steel liner that runs on both sides on the inside, and they're milled out to make this as light as they can on the inside. Even though this is a big boy that you're carrying, that helps to try to cut down some of that weight. Fingers locked in. Look at my hand. I've got a large glove. Feels good. I have extra space down here for the pommel. Good size. It'll adapt to an extra large, I believe, or a smaller hand. You got a nice amount of meat, and it's a thick knife. This is thick, but that's what you're getting in this duty knife. Again, field use. Everything has a purpose. Adapt, right? So the handle I like. Clip I like. This is going to be aggressive on your pants because the traction you have on the handle, if you go in and out of a pair of, whether it's cargos, jeans, it could go in and out of a rucksack, or if you have a duffel bag or something that you just want to clip this on. Yes, it could actually put some wear on it because it's a little rough here. It does clip over the material, but it could hold it down kind of tight on here. It's not too big. I mean, it's a big knife, so I don't mind it. I don't mind the branding. I'm okay with the clip. People on the clip that want to get a little bit, oh my goodness, look at this lanyard hole, this is junky and all that. No, absolutely not. In fact, guys, adapt. This hole, if you look at it and you've got a screw here, you can flip it to the other side. Okay? You can switch it around. For one, if you use a lanyard on this, the type you should, in my opinion, put in here is like I did on, or I mentioned on my SOG pillar. You have a longer leather strap. That way, if you're engaged with a glove or not, and you're holding, you have it around your wrist. That way, if you're doing other work and it dangles or falls or drops, or you're doing some type of small batoning, you have complete control, you're locked in, and you won't ever lose your knife as long as it's wrapped around your wrist with that band or leather strap. That's what I would do. I wouldn't be putting a little, pink flamingo hanging off on a 3 little inch dangle from here for your pocket around in the city. That's not totally what I would take this purpose as. Okay. Also, if you look at the design of this, you see how this is like a hex symbol here. they've got an attachment you can put down and slide up in here, and you can ratchet stuff. Using this as a ratchet, if you're going with the correct direction, you can use it as a ratchet. Again, my opinion, because I overcome, I adapt in the field. I find uses for things. So I don't mind the hole. I think it's functional for this particular knife. I also don't mind the clip. I think it's functional for this knife and working excellent. The pummel, let's talk about that. I heard a gentleman say, why in the world would you have a glass breaker or a pummel this big? Why would you ever take your knife and just be using it while you're hammering this into wood or something? Guys, this is my theory on it. And I had a fixed blade that was about this size. What I did, or what one use of this knife and this pommel is, I was in the field and I was setting up a shelter to sleep in. And the front of my tent, it was pretty windy. It was actually a poncho. And I was strapping stuff down with some rope and ties and stretching my poncho down. I took a knife and I hammered this into the ground. I went, not this particular knife, but I hammered it down, went up real high, took some twine, put it through a hole on the top of the knife, strung it through, tied it off, and that supported the front of what I used as my shelter for that night. This has a wonderful edge for that. It's nice and big and broad. You could even use the hole here, the lanyard hole, to put string through if you needed to and you were using this for an anchor. Again, this is a field knife. Hey, you can carry it, and you can carry it anywhere. In fact, I love knives like these even when I'm in the big city. But for most people, this is going to be beneficial for military personnel, first responders, police, or people that are going to need a heavy-duty knife. So, and for what that's intended for, this knife is beautiful, a beautiful working machine, guys. So, kind of went over the lock, right? Went over the flipper. Yes, it's aggressive. If you sit here for a long time and you just sit and keep diddling with your knife, it'll make your finger raw. Yeah, it sure will. This isn't something I would sit around and continuously do that, but I'm doing it now to show you the action. But it does have aggressive jimping. And then, of course, I don't know, I haven't tried it with gloves, but you can pull down on it's the XR lock, and you can flip it like this. You see how free-falling it is? Look at that. So, but it's damn near, I mean, this thing is strong. Great steel, great blade. Geometry's great. Good choil here for your finger. You got the contouring. You're locked in. It's milled out nicely. You got as much weight reduction as you can have and still have steel liners. Good texturing on here. The clip, very functional in my book. The pommel, again, very functional for what you're getting in this knife. And even the spine. I think that's beautiful, guys. Look at that. You pull it out. This is ready for action. It's ready for work. This bad boy, I think, could accomplish whatever task. I would be confident in the field under any type of circumstances that if I needed something, this would help me out and it would be there for me. Okay? So, that's my opinions on the SOG Seal XR. I appreciate you watching. I love you guys. Your support means everything to me. Like, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my amateur opinions. I'm not a professional. I just have used many knives. I've been in the game for a while and I like talking about knives. Maybe I can help you in your journey. maybe, oh, I know you can help me in mine with the comments. Do the thing, guys. Comment on it. Let me know. This is another SOG. It's another duty knife. Don't forget the pets. Don't forget the vets. The pets are the little ones that are innocent. They love us. They're there for us. I got one of my little guys right now that he's got a bad, really bad situation with his tail. He's at the vet getting taken care of and bandaged up. And our vets gave everything. They gave us freedom. They continue to give us freedom by serving daily this wonderful nation. And always stay sharp. I'm Scott, and I'm out.